Hi, Ron from RJM Music here. The Mastermind PBC 6X is a audio loop switcher that has 6 loops plus an insert loop. 4 of those loops are stereo capable. In our new 4.3 firmware, you can take those loops and split them into independent loops so that instead of a left and right stereo pair, you can use them as for 2 separate mono pedals. So how do you do this? What you need for those connections is an insert cable, and these cables have a TRS plug on one end, like a headphone white, and on the other side there are 2 plugs, and they're labeled typically tip and ring, and those connect to the tip and the ring of this jack, respectively. In a stereo setup, the tip and ring would be left and right side, respectively. In this setup, the tip will be sort of the primary loop, and the ring would be a secondary loop. What that means, for example, is if you plug into loop 4, into return 4 and send 4, the tip side of each would be connected to loop 4, and the ring side would be connected to loop 7. And that works for any of the stereo capable loops on the PBC 6X. That's loops 4, 5, 6, and the insert loop. When you split loop 4 into 2 loops, it becomes loops 4 and 7. When you split loop 5, it becomes loops 5 and 8, and then loop 6 becomes loops 6 and 9. The insert loop is labeled as just insert loop 1 and insert loop 2. In addition to this kind of insert cable, you might see one of these. This is a more sort of off-the-shelf, factory-made cable, and on one of these, the gray is the tip plug, and the orangey red is the ring. Okay, so for this example, we'll take our 2 insert cables here, and we're going to take one, and it's going to go into send 4 here, and then another that goes to return 4. It's connected like this. The tip plug will be send 4. The ring plug will be send 7, and likewise in the return jack we've got return 4 and return 7. Okay, and here it is all connected. We've got send 4 going to the inputs of the 2 pedals, and we have the return 4 going to the outputs, and that is all the wiring you need. Okay, so now we can get into the PBC settings and tell it that we're using the loops in this split configuration. So we can enter setup by holding 1 and 3, and then we go down to audio settings, and we're going to go down to loop 4 settings. And there's a new setting here called split mono, and we just simply turn that on, and now it knows that it's no longer a stereo loop, but now it's a split loop instead. And when you exit out of here, you'll note that now we have loops 1 through 6, the insert loop, and a loop 7 here. You'll also note if you go in that if we go over here and back into audio settings and go and edit the loop order, you'll see that we have all the loops listed here as well, and any of these split loops can be rearranged in any order with the normal loops without any limitations. And so the last thing we'd want to do is we want to have access to this 7th loop. Right now there are 3 button pages. The first one selects presets. The second one turns loops 1 through 6 on and off, and the third turns on the function switches and some other features. But we don't have access to loop 7 at the moment. So what we can do is go back into settings once more, go to edit buttons, and then this is where our button pages are listed. We're going to go to the 3rd page that's currently switches, and we select it, move down and select type, and we're going to change it to loops page 2. And yes, we want to overwrite this. Okay, so we've now changed the 3rd page to access the 2nd page of loops. We can go down 1 here to page 4, and we're going to set the type to switches. We'll overwrite and exit. So now we can select presets as normal, move one page to loops, and this will do loops 1 through 6. And we can hit it once more, and now we're on loops page 2. And now we have loops 7, 8, 9, and the insert loops 1 and 2 available to be controlled. And then the last press will get you to the switches, the outputs, and the input. And as before, the way you would program a preset is select your preset, go to the loops page, turn on the loops that you wish to have on. So we'll have loops 2 and 3 on, and then we'll go over here. We already have loop 7 on, and we can then just hold the function button, and that stores those loop selections to a current preset. And that is all you need to do to get set up for split mono mode.
You can also set up split mono mode in the Mastermind editor. Once you get into the editor, go to the Audio tab, and you'll see that loops 4, 5, and 6 have split mono settings. And as I activate them, the new loops 7, 8, and 9 are added to the loop order down here. You can also split the insert loop. The insert loop, the primary insert loop, is displayed as a plus sign, and the secondary insert loop is displayed as an equal sign. And these same symbols are used in the on the PBC itself, on the display screen. And once you've done that, you can go in and also change the buttons as we did on the unit itself. And we'll do the same thing here. What we'll do is we're going to move the switches tab, or I'm sorry, the switches page from page 3 to page 4. So we're on page 3 right now, and we'll just copy to page 4. And it'll ask for confirmation. So now if we go over to page 4 here, you'll see this also is a switches page. And so we've successfully moved that. We're going to go back to page 3 here, and we're going to make this our loops, second loops page. So we can say loops 2, for example, and that's the page name that will be displayed when this page is active. And then we right-click on each one of these buttons and select Assign CC and Internal Loop 7, Assign CC Internal Loop 8, and Assign CC Internal Loop 9. By the way, if you're using a Mac, you may need to do a control click if you don't have a right mouse button or have a simulated right mouse button set up. Continuing, we can do Assign CC Insert 1 and Assign CC Insert 2. You don't want to change this button because this is the one that we use to switch from page to page. This one is free to do with whatever you like. I'm going to leave it set to control the output on and off, but you can change it to control input, function switch, some other device, whatever you like. The only other thing you need to do is go over to Global and set maximum button page to 4, because now we have 4 button pages that are active. So going back real quick, we've got our main presets page, then loops 1 through 6, loops 7 through 9, and the insert loops, and then the switches page, which has also the main insert loop, function switches, etc.